On a sun-drenched corner at 1398 Northeast Street in San Bernardino, California, brothers Richard Dick McDonald and Maurice Mac McDonald opened a small drive-in barbecue in 1940. What started as a modest local spot would soon be refashioned into a radical fast food experiment. By 1948, they had stripped away car hop service, narrowed the menu to burgers, fries, and shakes, and codified the Speedee Service System. It was a stainless steel assembly line approach that timed tasks, standardized portions, and choreographed workers so a hamburger could be delivered in under a minute. The system prioritized speed, consistency, and low cost. Simplified recipes, fixed price items, cash sales, and a compact kitchen layout reduced labor and inventory. This was not marketing fluff, but operational engineering, complete with a visible mascot called Speedee that signaled mechanized efficiency. The timing mattered. After World War II, California's highway expansion and booming car culture sent families and commuters looking for quick, affordable meals between errands and road trips. The McDonald brothers met that demand by turning food preparation into production. They cut wait times and removed variations so a burger tasted the same to a serviceman in a leather jacket as to a suburban mother in an apron. Word spread among local motorists and competing drive-ins. Nearby vendors, suppliers, and a nascent refrigerated supply chain adapted to bulk buns, patties, and milkshake mix. On the road in the early 1950s, a persistent traveling salesman named Ray Kroc, who sold Prince Castle multi-mixer milkshake machines, encountered this chromed, no-nonsense operation and quickly recognized its national franchising potential. He first visited the San Bernardino restaurant in 1954 and signed a franchise agreement the next year. In 1954, Ray Kroc, a traveling salesman for the Prince Castle multi-mixer, followed a tip to 1398 Northeast Street in San Bernardino and found a gleaming, chrome-lined operation that ran like a small factory. He counted customers, watched cooks flip patties and drop fries on a strict cadence, and noted throughput numbers that made him sit up. Dozens of hamburgers turned out in minutes, milkshakes blended by 6-head mixers he knew well. Kroc realized the McDonald brothers' Speedee Service System was not just a novelty, but a repeatable, transportable method, and he returned to Illinois convinced this machine-like efficiency could be franchised nationwide. In late 1954 and early 1955, he pressed Richard, Dick McDonald, and Maurice, Mac McDonald, to let him become their franchising agent. In 1955, he founded McDonald's System, Inc. to sell the concept, with paperwork in hand and a sharp focus on process. The first tentative franchise agreements were cautious and narrowly written. Franchisees would adopt the brothers' compact kitchen layouts, standardized portions, and the Speedee identity, and they would buy specified equipment and ingredients to guarantee consistency. The first franchised site that Kroc opened on April 15, 1955 at 400 Lee Street in Des Plaines, Illinois, became a live proof of concept. Its receipts, daily customer counts, and the speed with which a two-person crew could turn tables created a small crescendo of validation. Word spread in business circles. Franchise applicants phoned McDonald's System, Inc., investors started asking questions, and suppliers saw predictable, repeatable orders for buns, patties, and powdered shake mix. But success revealed divergent appetites. The McDonald brothers, content with a handful of well-run Southern California outlets and protective of their operational purity, hesitated at rapid scaling. Kroc, energized by measurable sales curves and the vision of hundreds of outlets across state lines, pushed for aggressive franchising, stricter manuals, and tighter supplier control. That tension, between an invention engineered for uniformity and an ambition to turn it into an industrial empire, took shape amid growing franchise momentum, and it set the stage for more decisive conflicts to come. After opening the Des Plaines restaurant at 400 Lee Street on April 15, 1955, Ray Kroc moved from salesman to corporate architect with urgent speed. He incorporated McDonald's System, Inc. that year and started building the chrome-bright playbook he believed could turn a regional curiosity into an industrial brand. Kroc insisted on written operational manuals that specified grill times, bun-to-patty ratios, exact scoop sizes for powdered shake mix, and the precise cadence for two-person crews. Every step was timed and illustrated so any new outlet would reproduce the same product and pace as Des Plaines. He developed training routines, role rehearsals for order taking, assembly line choreography for short order cooks, and checklisted cleaning procedures. which he refined on the shop floor and later turned into classroom instruction still rooted in the 1955 blueprint. Branding was sharpened into simple golden age iconography, the Speedee image, and a uniform storefront aesthetic so customers from Chicago to Los Angeles could recognize a McDonald's at a glance. Choosing Des Plaines as his flagship was deliberate. Kroc used its daily receipts and turnaround times as audited proof when he solicited franchise applicants and courted investors. Practical problems drove administrative invention. Inconsistent buns, soggy fries, and unreliable beef deliveries forced Kroc to vet and approve suppliers, specify equipment standards such as the Prince Castle multi-mixer 6-head for shakes, and require franchisees to buy designated pieces of chrome and steel. Those moves seeded the backbone of modern fast food supply chains, centralized specs, approved vendor lists, and predictable palletized orders that transportation and refrigerated networks could service. Enforcing those rules produced predictable resistance. Independent franchisees bristled at mandated suppliers and capital lists that raised upfront costs, and some balked at auditors checking inventory and cook times. Richard Dick and Maurice "Mac" McDonald grew uneasy as Kroc tightened control over identity, equipment, and purchase channels, fearing loss of the operational purity they had invented. The push for uniformity solved many scaling problems but deepened personal and contractual strains, accelerating a confrontation that would demand decisive resolution in the next act. What followed from the Des Plaines proof was brutal clarity. Rapid expansion exposed practical faults the brothers' kitchen had never faced. Within months of April 15, 1955, the chrome-bright template at 400 Lee Street began to strain under distance and scale. Buns arrived out of spec, beef deliveries varied by packer, powdered shake mix thickened in cold freight, and fries that were crisp at a single shop on 1398 North E Street in San Bernardino arrived limp at franchises dozens of miles away. Some franchisees matched Des Plaines' cadence and turned a two-person crew into a small symphony of speedy choreography. Others missed grill times, misscooped shake mix, and sent customers away with inconsistent product and complaints. Those performance gaps became public problems, poor sales, awkward local press, and threatened reputations, and they created legal and financial danger for a system built on sameness. Disputes over control split along predictable lines. Dick and Mac McDonald, owners of the original San Bernardino operation, clung to operational purity and to ownership of their name and methods. Ray Kroc, now running McDonald's System Inc., saw franchise inconsistency as an existential threat to nationwide scaling and to investor confidence. Kroc doubled down. He hardened franchise contracts, tightened approved vendor lists, mandated specified equipment, and formalized auditing routines. He ordered legal counsel to rewrite agreements so corporate oversight was enforceable, not optional. He organized centralized purchasing requirements and put procedures in writing with the same mechanical rigor used on the grill. Financially, he built layered corporate structures and enforcement mechanisms, fee schedules, performance clauses, and remedies for non-compliance to turn franchising into a controllable asset rather than a loose distributive network. Resistance hardened in kitchen and boardroom. Some franchisees complained about rising capital costs and invasive audits, while the McDonald brothers worried that their name and methods were being corralled into a commercial machine. Kroc answered not with conversation, but with demonstration. He tightened Des Plaines operations, collected audited receipts and turnaround times, and used those public, verifiable metrics to recruit new franchisees and investors. The result was a combustible moment. Operational proof of the system, a bank of corporate levers ready to enforce it, and a personal contractual standoff that set the stage for an imminent, decisive confrontation. On April 15, 1955, at 400 Lee Street in Des Plaines, Illinois, Ray Kroc swung open a chrome-bright door and turned theory into public proof. The day was both an operational milestone and a symbolic coronation. This franchised McDonald's served as the company's showcase and a live laboratory for the Speedee Service System. Kroc staged the shop to demonstrate exact grill times, measured scoop sizes for powdered shake mix, the Prince Castle multi-mixer in constant rotation, and the compact kitchen choreography he would sell to franchisees. Customers streamed in, suburban families, commuters, and local workers, giving him real-time throughput data that Kroc logged as audited receipts and turnaround times. Those numbers mattered. They turned managerial exhortation into hard evidence that standardized menus, specified equipment, and centralized supplier lists could deliver identical product at scale. Word of the efficient service and consistent product spread beyond curious patrons to business observers and local press, providing the verifiable metrics investors wanted. For the McDonald brothers, the scene felt like ambiguous praise and theft. For Kroc, it was vindication. The Des Plaines opening resolved the central tension by proving the brothers' engineered system could be replicated, controlled, and monetized across distances, and it set the template, contractual, logistical, and mechanical, that propelled the enterprise into national franchising and the modern fast food supply chain. At the Chrome Bright prototype in Des Plaines, a national and global transformation was set in motion. Ray Kroc's franchising mechanics combined with the McDonald brothers' Speedee Service System and effectively rewired how food was produced and delivered. A rigid franchisor playbook and approved vendor lists created predictable palletized orders, refrigerated trucking rhythms, and large bakeries and meat packers scaled to service thousands of outlets. Franchising also rewrote real estate strategy. Sites were chosen for highway visibility, standardized storefronts anchored strip malls, and corporate leasing turned land into strategic assets. Consumers adopted new, time-saving meal habits. Fast, inexpensive burgers folded into daily rituals across America. The model exported worldwide, showing entrepreneurs how to replicate the format and supply chains across very different cultures. That reach provoked disputes, routinized labor and low wages, the rise of ultra-processed menus and public health scrutiny, and worries about cultural homogenization and environmental cost. At the same time, the system democratized predictability and created supply chain efficiencies that other industries copied. In the end, the brothers' careful craft and Kroc's industrial ambition fused into a ubiquitous engine, useful, contested, and unmistakably influential, forcing us to weigh convenience against consequence.